I'm on a day 3 hangover right now, and I'm thinking about this thing that enters my mind.
So I wanted to take a minute to respond to this gal's video where she's really questioning her relationship with alcohol and whether or not the excessive drinking and partying, which is so normalized in our culture, is really worth the horrible hangovers that come from it. First of all, I just want to say that I know exactly what you're going through because I struggled with excessive drinking for nearly 10 years, and I was in those same cycles as well. I was hungover multiple days in the week, sometimes more mild, sometimes more severe, and I really had this internal conflict around my drinking because on one hand, it was really fun. I'd be with my friends, we'd party and celebrate and do all the things that we do when we drink, but then on the other hand, I would be the one at home by myself feeling awful the next day, throwing up in the toilet, feeling terrible about myself, not only just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It impacts us on all levels, and questioning, like, was it really worth it? And why couldn't I just have a few drinks? Why did I have to drink to the point where I'm making myself sick? And why do I have to do that all of the time? I did it on a regular basis for nearly 10 years. These struggles with alcohol really led me to try to moderate my drinking, which was impossible for me to do until I learned about the Sinclair Method, which I'll tell you about in just a second. And then I also would try to quit drinking, but that would only last a couple days, weeks, or months, and I would end up returning to drinking again because honestly, I was craving it and I wanted it, and I was just like, screw it, I need a drink. Something that I wish I would have known much sooner than I did was the reason behind my struggles with alcohol. Like, why couldn't I control my drinking, and why couldn't I moderate my drinking, and why couldn't I quit drinking? Now I know it has everything to do with what was going on in my brain, and essentially by excessively drinking repeatedly over a period of, years, my brain learned an alcohol use disorder. And once my brain had been changed and learned this alcohol use disorder, it wasn't going to let go of alcohol. And in fact, when that happens to any of us who learn this, our brain starts to mistakenly equate the reward and pleasure we get from alcohol to a survival need. So as soon as we quit drinking, something called the alcohol deprivation effect kicks in, which actually increases our craving for alcohol because our brain is getting deprived of the dopamine and the endorphin and the reward that it's used to getting for it. Much like if we are deprived of food or water or other things we need to survive, the longer we go without it, the more we desire it, the more we think about it, the more we are motivated to seek it out. The same thing happens with alcohol, which is why if you look at the statistics of like the treatment industry, 80% or more of people will end up relapsing within 6 months of leaving treatment. Not to mention also that deciding to quit drinking alcohol is a really big decision for a lot of people to make, and it can be a really difficult decision. I know it was for me as well. Even though I knew I had an issue with alcohol, the thought of never being able to drink again was a little bit terrifying because everybody in my life drank, and it was a part of my social circle and what I did, to have fun. And so it was really difficult for me to think about never being able to drink again. But this is also why the Sinclair Method treatment protocol is so unique. So this is a neuroscience-based treatment protocol that's been around for 30 years. It has a ton of clinical research behind it, proving it has a 78% success rate. And what's so unique about this protocol is that you actually start it while you're still drinking, and over time it works to reverse alcohol use disorder neurologically, which is the source of why we drink excessively, because when we learn the alcohol addiction, it lives in our brain. And through the Sinclair Method, what happens for most people, including me, is they start the treatment protocol, and over time, they start to see themselves regain control over drinking. Because with the protocol, you actually take a medication called naltrexone. It's a generic medication that's very cheap and widely available. It does require a prescription in most parts of the world, but a very benign, non-addictive medication that's been approved for alcohol treatment also for decades. But you take this medication and you take it before you drink. And what it's doing is it's blocking some of the euphoric effects that come from alcohol. It's not the same thing as antabuse. It doesn't make you really sick. It just makes drinking a little bit less interesting, a little bit less pleasurable. And the reason that alcohol can be so addictive and the reason that we can drink to excess is because of the flood of pleasure that it's feeding to our brain. And so when the medication is taken beforehand and it's kind of dampening that pleasure a bit, over time, people start to see themselves have more control. I know for me, I could easily drink a bottle or two of wine a night and just binge drink on the weekends. But as I started on naltrexone, within a couple of months, I could no longer finish a bottle of wine. And then I couldn't finish 2 or 3 glasses. And then I would have 2 weeks alcohol free and not even think about drinking. Or I'd go out with my girlfriends and, have 2 glasses of wine and sip on them the whole night and remember everything the next day and not be hungover. What's really cool about this treatment is that it actually gives you back your control over alcohol. It truly allows people to be moderate drinkers. So it's not this black or white view of, hey, you can never drink again because you can't control your alcohol. It actually allows you to get your control back over alcohol. I started this treatment in 2017 and I was on it for a year, saw my drinking just gradually decrease over that time. It was such a cool experience to see myself be empowered over alcohol and have this control back over alcohol and really be able to take it or leave it. And then through this treatment, I actually quit drinking accidentally about 5 years ago because I just genuinely lost interest in drinking. The last few months while I was on the treatment, I was drinking about 1 time a month. And what happened is 1 month went by and then another month, and before I knew it, it had been 4 months since I drank, and I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to drink anymore. But the truth is, I still have the option to drink if I want to. I would just follow the Sinclair Method protocol, take the medication before I drink, and I know it would give me that control over alcohol. But this treatment worked so well for me that I honestly feel like it reversed the alcohol addiction and alcohol use disorder from my brain. I feel like my brain is back to the state it was in before I ever had 1 sip of alcohol. Like, I don't think about drinking. I don't want to drink. I forgot what it's like to feel drunk. I forgot, what it's like to enjoy a drink of alcohol. It just doesn't even occur to me anymore. And that's exactly how the treatment is designed to work. It basically undoes this wiring that has been done in the brain to learn the alcohol addiction. It undoes that over time by drinking on this medication, naltrexone, not getting the same reward from alcohol, and ultimately seeing yourself lose the alcohol craving and become disinterested in alcohol. Many people I know have been on this treatment for years and they still drink moderately and have control. But for others like myself, they end up quitting drinking just because they lose interest in it. I honestly hope this information is helpful for you. I'm about your same age. I'm 36. I wish this was information I was given much sooner than I was. I was also so conflicted about my drinking and wondering how, as a society, we can all drink really heavily, but everyone's kind of pretending like it's okay. And in my field, I now work in this field full time, and I work with amazing people who are successful, intelligent, everyday people, doctors, lawyers, nurses, teachers, who all struggle with this. So you are not alone in this struggle. Many people are, but I think as a society, we have so normalized drinking and so normalized excessive drinking, but alcohol by nature is addictive. So it's only a matter of time of someone repeatedly drinking that they're going to develop a dependence on it, whether they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and so on. And so it can happen to anyone. But what's so cool about the Sinclair Method treatment protocol is that it's very gentle. You don't have to quit drinking. It's not a black or white approach. It allows you to start the treatment while you're still drinking, and you will honestly see yourself transform as you relate to alcohol. You'll start to see I had 2 drinks, I'm satisfied with that, or, I don't feel like drinking today, no big deal. Or you go out and you see your friends party and get drunk and you're over there sipping on a couple cocktails and, not getting drunk. At least that was my experience. I hear it from others as well. With this treatment, my whole TikTok is about it. You can learn more about it with my other videos. I have resources linked in my bio. With the medication naltrexone, we work with telemedicine providers in our program that we offer who specialize in this treatment, but you can get the prescription from any doctor technically, but some doctors will not prescribe it because they think that they need to be a trained addiction professional. Unfortunately, there's just a lot of lack of awareness about it, but you can get the prescription technically from any doctor. If you want us to help you with that, please do reach out. You can do lots of other research online as well to learn more about naltrexone and the Sinclair Method. There's a book called The Cure for Alcoholism by Dr. Roy Escapa. You can get it on Amazon or Audible. There's a documentary about this treatment called One Little Pill, and there's a great TEDx talk on YouTube by an actress who used this treatment called How I Overcame Alcoholism by Claudia Christian. So I genuinely hope this helps you. Hang in there. Please reach out if I can help.